Welcome back to the Justin Wenzel Podcast. On this show, I like to feature guests that have wild stories. They've taken what they've learned in their life and they want to help other people become the best version of themselves. And today, listen, we actually have a really special guest today. Kyle, the superhuman father. You guys, what's happening? I'm so stoked to have you here today.
Yeah, one little meet, and 2 weeks later, we're doing this, man.
Let's talk about that real quick because it's funny. My last guest was Jeremy Blossom, and love that dude.
Yeah.
He ended up coming on board with JWX, and he came on and he did the same show. And everybody that I met that night, I really enjoyed and liked spending time with. How'd you get mixed up with them?
So I met Keith. I found him on Instagram, and he's doing some marriage shit.
Right.
And I was like, and he's an interesting cat, man. Like,
yeah.
He's just got a different vibe. So I started following him. And then out of nowhere, you know, I've been running Superhuman Fathers for like a year. I'm just a fireman dude, and like it's growing, and I'm like kind of finding my feet in this new world of like leadership and shit and transformation. And Garrett White sends me some cryptic fucking text. It's like, I see you. You are ready. I was like, what the fuck? I told you he's a fucking prophet, dude. And so I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I'm like looking at his Instagram, and he follows like 8 people. And like, I'm on there, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just step into? And then I found out, I was listening to a podcast and found out they were like Keith and Garrett were best friends. And I was already connecting with Keith, and so it was almost like meant to be. It was weird. It was just like both of them from 2 different worlds. And then went to WarriorCon 4 and was working with Garrett. And then Keith was running his Ascend Brotherhood. And at the time, I'm so hungry for information and wisdom and being around people. I was joining everything, dude. Everything.
I've been there. Like, I get it.
Because like at that point, like fuck money. I was like, fuck money. Like I got money. Cool. What do I want? Wisdom and relationships. That's it. That's all I've ever fucking cared about. Learn shit and meet cool people.
I love that.
So it was like, hey, you want to join my group? I was like, yeah, here you go. Fucking 30 G's here, 40 G's here, 30 G's here. I just joined everybody.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it's a little stupid. Like, don't fucking do that at that level, but maybe like one at a time is good.
Well, you were and you were new to like being in entrepreneurship and
new
business
to everything, dude. I was just a fucking fireman that found myself in a place that was like highly leveraged at the time to help a lot of fucking people.
It can be intoxicating when you go in those rooms and like the energy is really high. I have mixed emotions about masterminds. I've been to some that have been really life-changing, but the vast majority of them, I've found that the only person that's really benefiting out of it is the mastermind. And that rubs me a little bit the wrong way. I have a hard time, and I know that you have talked about this in the past too, with like instant gratification.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people join masterminds to get that instant gratification. Meanwhile, they're just really subconsciously plotting in their head to go back to their miserable lives and talk about the mastermind, but never take action. A few people, Gary Vee has even said at one of his masterminds, he said, only 1% of you guys are going to take anything that I talk about and do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I've been thinking about this a lot, man, because like, I was writing the other morning, and sometimes I'll take my writings. I'm a songwriter, but I've been cheating and using ChatGPT.
Okay.
Which my son fucking hates. He's like, that's not real music. I'm like, bro, read these lyrics. It's fucking insane. I'm like, it's like it knows me. But I took these writings and I put them in as lyrics. And the lyrics were talking about the rhythm of sacrifice, the rhythm of continuous work, and the commitment to life of a way of being. And I was like, fuck, and in the lyrics, it talked about the goosebumps, right? So you might get goosebumps or feel inspired. It means nothing. It's just a little feeling. Or you go to a mastermind and you get all hyped up. And all it is just this feeling. But most people feel that and they think that they did something and they didn't do shit. And it's a trick. Or like a medicine journey. You go on a medicine journey and you're like, I'm changed. But then you go home and you just get right back into the fucking bullshit. And in the world of transformation, that's like such an important concept because you watch people feel it and you're like, okay, cool, but I didn't do anything for them yet. Like nothing's been done. But transformation coaches sometimes think they did something because they had somebody feel something, and it means nothing if nothing changes.
Without a breakthrough.
Right, and as a coach, you can get fucked up with that. You're like, oh, we changed them. No, you didn't do shit.
No, there has to be a real breakthrough, and most importantly, there needs to be results.
Yes.
Physical, tangible, monetary, spiritual, whatever.
Whatever it is, man.
Results.
Yeah. Yeah. And the results are gonna come from beating that fucking drum. Like that rhythm where it's like every day it's that facing that thing again. And I'm seeing with guys, that's the hardest thing for them, to accept the fact that it never fucking ends.
No. So here's a thought, and this is kind of why I always say that I would take an addict over anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
because introduce an addict to that feeling of oxytocin, all the emotions that you get when you walk into a room. And even mastermind aside, take an addict and put them in a music festival situation. As one that used to go to them, when I would leave, all I could think about was feeling the way that I felt in the moment at that time, whether I was fucked up or not. Even when I would show up to them sober, which was very rare, I still would want that connection, the vulnerability that's around you. There's a lot of emotion that's going on. And then you constantly, you fiend for it.
Yeah,
right? And you want to feel like you did the first time. Well, here's the thing about personal development as a whole. When you give an addict a taste of personal development and they see that feeling of some sort of instant gratification, or they feel that feeling rather, they're going to go to the ends of the earth to feel that again. Right? Which is why I talk about why so many addicts fall in love with fitness, is because that's a high that you can continue to chase and get. You can always make it feel like the first time, where, like, if you're talking about a party drug, well, you can't really get that first feeling. So I think a lot of times when guys like myself and people that have been through some stuff, and I want to touch on, some of the stuff that you've been through, we tend to gravitate towards consistency in that matter, because it was really easy for us to be consistently destroying our life time and time and time again. So prior to coaching though, firefighting, family life, what did all that look like?
Yeah, that raised Mormon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
interesting.
Like an addict, fucking all in, dude.
Okay.
Punk rock, 90s, Oceanside, and around all the shit, around all of it. I wasn't like the Mormon kid hanging out with Mormon kids. I was the Mormon kid hanging out with you.
All right, cool.
Like all my best friends were just living life and living the punk rock life. But I was like mission driven to go on a mission.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was in a punk band. I was
Mormon punk band?
No.
Okay.
No, real shit. And I was the watchdog. I was the designated driver. I was just the fucking guy. But I loved the punk rock life, man. I loved it. I just did. I was just in it, but I didn't drink or do anything like that. I was a virgin when I got married.
Really?
Yeah, like virgin.
Wow, unicorn.
Well, dude, check this out. I didn't even fucking jerk off.
Oh.
Not once until I was fucking married. And then I was married for a while. And then when you get married and your wife stops having sex with you for a while, then you start jerking off.
Yeah, that happens.
But what a weird fucking, I look at my background, I'm like, where did I come from, dude? Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
So then I get back and I'm like, I don't know what I go on a mission.
Where'd you go?
Texas.
Yeah. How many brothers were with you there?
There was like 200.
200.
Yeah. So I was bummed because cool kids go out of the country.
Yeah.
And so they called me Spanish. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll learn Spanish. But then when I got there, it was like Spanglish, So yeah. I was like,
well, you're in Texas.
Yeah, I was like, in the Mormon world, you feel kind of like a loser. You're like, I'm going to Texas. But it ended up being a really good experience for a 19-year-old dude. Because it's hard. It's monk life. It's if you do it right, you don't talk to your family for Mother's Day and Christmas, and all you do is work your ass off in service of other people. Like that's all you do.
For sure. Let me ask you this. Because whenever I think about like, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, when they're on mission, things like that, door knocking and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you think it helped you with handling rejection?
100%, like 1,000%, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Everything that I am and can do and my ability to talk to people and empathize with people came from my Mormon mission.
Mm.
And my mom. My mom's a super empathetic human. But that combination, I always look back. I'll read some of my writings when I was there. And it's just like, I feel like I'm like the same fucking guy that just says fuck now, and I couldn't say it back then.
but with the same, but because you have the same, I guess morals, your ethics were kind of ingrained into you.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. You and I could talk about Mormonism for a while. And as a matter of fact, I told you that I was in in Manhattan rather, New Year's Eve. And I went and I saw the Book of Mormon on Broadway.
Yeah.
Fabulous. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But ultimately, as much as it is like spoof on Mormonism and stuff like that, I don't think it's too historically off. But at the end of the day, what you recognize is that like, these indoctrines, these things that these kids were brought up in, are in a lot of cases super positive things.
I think it's like milk before meat, man. Like you got to have a reason to actually practice good principles and integrity and be honest and like be a good man. You got to have a reason to do that. When you're a kid, it's like, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense to you mentally. I'm dealing with that with my kids now because when they're lying or doing something, I'm like, how did I learn this? I'm like, I was brainwashed into doing it. And then when I left the church, I started going, okay, let me work these principles. And I'm like, they're still true. Even without God, these work.
Mm.
So
let me ask you this real quick then, just because I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to, this came to mind. So as you're raising your kids now, do you raise them with Mormon faith or
no?
Okay. So then my question is, when you raise kids with, and I'm just going to call it what it is, illogical consequences, right?
Yeah.
When it's any religion that's like, when you're a kid, it's like this hocus pocus, like under a microscope situation. Now, by the way, I grew up in a very Christian family, very conservative, non-denominational home. So similar ideology in terms of like what the consequences are, God's watching you, so on and so forth. Now, I raise my son to have logical consequences, right? You did this, you got in trouble at school, you can't go on the field trip.
Yeah.
Right? Regular consequences. And it seems that he is starting to, he doesn't lie like when he was more of oblivious to what was going on.
Yeah.
Right? To where when you have logical consequences, you can respond with logical responses.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good to open up all the concepts to my sons. Like, I'm like, look, I don't know. Here's the route I'm going right now, what I'm feeling. But I don't know, bro. You got to figure this shit out on your own. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you some stories about where I did this and where that ended up. And then I'll just tell them stories of friends and people, and I'll read books to them and go back to history. And I'll be like, so like, what does this teach you about, like, if we're talking about lying, what does this teach you about being honest? And then they'll tell it back to me. And I'm like, how do you think you can apply that in your life? Because it has to make sense to them or they're just not going to buy it, man. And then I also know that they have to fuck up. And when I was growing up in the culture I was in, it wasn't okay to fuck up. It was like, you're bad. There's something wrong with you.
Right.
I don't want my kids to grow up with shame. I want them to grow up understanding the dark and the light and realize like sometimes we're going to step in the dark and learn some shit. And then it's like going back to like, what do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What's the direction you want to get to? And what is this action or this principle doing to get you to the place you want to go? Mm-hmm. Just leave it on them.
Right.
You know, and that gets hard because like my son, my son spent $1,000 on my bank account buying shit.
Okay.
Fucking, and I get it. I'm like, what is this? And my wife's like, I think that's Cooper. And I was like, I've been a dad long enough now. I don't get mad anymore. I don't get mad. Getting mad at my kids does nothing Good. Nothing. It doesn't do anything. So I got to immediately, like, my stomach gets in a knot. I get pissed, take a breath, and be like, okay, what the fuck's going on? So, and then I talked to him about it, and he's just like fucking oblivious, dude. He's like, I thought like it wasn't that much money, and I thought like he's just stupid, right? He's fucking stupid. And I'm like, okay, where did I miss teaching him this? You know, and we made a lot of money over the last 3 years. Yeah. We just saw money coming in, and we were spending a lot of money fucking too. But like, I didn't punish him. I talked to him, and then we made a plan. And then, and don't get me wrong, I don't fucking know if this is the right or wrong way to do it, but just smashing him, crushing him, making him feel like shit. Like, I've had that happen to me, and I'm like, oh.
It was more likely if he reaps that type of that type of reaction, that he's gonna be more conditioned to want to lie.
That's what I'm saying.
What can I do to avoid this?
I want my kids to be honest with me, and then it's like, all right, we have a hard conversation, but that hard conversation leads to an understanding, leads to a commitment, leads to accountability. Fuck, dude, it's just coaching.
Yep. The oldest saying in the book is when your dad says, "I'm not mad, I'm disappointed."
Yeah.
And when my dad would say that to me, I would be like, God, I wish he was mad at me and not disappointed. Yeah. When he would say that to me, I'd go to my room bawling. My dad was my hero. Like, my dad was my superhuman,
Well,
father.
Your dad, dude, he would watch you. Like, I watch my kids when I'm giving it to them, like the truth of like the pain they're causing, right? Mm-hmm. My biggest fear is having a fucking narcissistic kid that doesn't give a fuck. So like, I'm talking to him, I'm watching him. If I see a little tear well up and the lip quiver a little bit, I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God you give a fuck. And I hope it's not just because you're worried about getting in trouble. And, but I think if you set it up right and you have the right conversation, you can see that in them, and you're like, okay, all right, we're on the right track.
It's a lot easier to achieve that type of response out of your kids when they want to be like you.
Yeah, fuck yes, bro. Thank you. That's so key. When they're inspired by your life and they've been watching every decision you make, and they've been watching you every day grinding your ass off, and your results that you're getting are inspiring to them. They watch the way you treat your wife and that energy in the home, and they know outside, they go to their friend's house and they're like, this don't feel like my house. Like, all that shit's so important. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so much of like Superhuman Father's philosophy.
Let's go into that.
Okay. Yeah.
So obviously fire department, and I've worked with on my end of things with numerous firefighters that have become coaches. And as a matter of fact, I have learned that the firefighters, first responders in general, that do become coaches and mentors and leaders of their own like brotherhood or tribe or whatever you want to call it, they do the best by far. And I'm trying to put because I've never been a first responder. I have no experience there. Somehow I end up getting to mentor a bunch of them. I don't know why they picked me, but I do. But at the same time, it's like, what is it? And I can understand the selflessness, the service, all of that, but you guys are different. Why firefighters? Why firefighters? What is it about you guys?
I think that you learn to work in a community so tight with a bunch of fucking alpha, savage, angry motherfuckers. And you learn to read each other's energy and to really like give and take value the correct way to not kill each other. Because like you'll be on a crew and like everyone's fucking, not all crews, don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes there's some crews with like fat fucks that are lazy little bitches. But you're on a real crew with real fucking men. Like there's just a culture that you have to learn, and it's a vibe. Like you're vibing back and forth, and you just like learn how to work with people. Like you were saying with your experience, working on the showroom floor and having to deal with all those personalities. Like you're not only concerned with like the teamwork, and you're also concerned with your own like emotional safety, because if you step out of line, your fucking throat's gonna get slit. You know what I'm saying? There's consequences. So I think they just get, as a fireman, you just get really good at giving when necessary for the good of the people. Because, for example, stupid shit. Like nobody wants to go to training. Like we like to train with our crew, but nobody likes to go to fucking regional training. Like, but what'll happen is you'll be on an engine, then it'll get forced on an overtime, then you have to go again, and then you'll be on the truck the next day, and then you got to go again. You're like, I already fucking went. So there's always this like back and forth where like the engine's going, the truck's not, and there's like these moments where it's like your conscience knows that you are supposed to go because you're fucking up, right? You maybe went on Thursday. This guy went yesterday. Yeah, you're going to have to go twice and you maybe went on another overtime. But you're like, hey, man, take your gear off the engine. I got you, right? That sounds so simple and stupid. But that concept is ingrained in you. If you're a good fireman, you will walk into a room on a call and maybe like some elderly lady's covered in shit. Like that happens. Well, watch the crew, and the guy that runs forward over his crew to go clean her off, that's the motherfucker. That's the guy. And that's the guy you want to be. And that's the guy you want to be in your family. That's why the guy you want to be in leadership. That's the guy you want to be in any brotherhood or tribe you're in. That's the guy you want to be in the world. It's like, if there is something covered in shit, I'm going. And you're going to have to fight me to do it.
Wow. I love that. I think one thing too is like, with that being said, and just to kind of add on to that point though, is like when you've seen a lot, when you've walked in front of a lot, you're not shakeable.
Yeah.
And when you have another man come to you and tell you, maybe they were having an affair, maybe they were doing some weird shit.
Yeah. Fucking normal.
Yeah. And they come to you and they tell you about that, and you're like, okay, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Instead of judgment, you know, same thing with what we're talking about with kids.
Yeah, you're absolutely
and how they react, right? And
Yeah.
it's magnetic when you feel no judgment, when you feel empathy, when you have somebody that can nod and say, "Yeah, dude, what do you want to know about me?"
Fucking firehouse table, bro. Because the firehouse table, dude, firemen are fucked up, just like everybody else.
Yeah, I heard about something that goes on, and this is off topic, but I heard about something that goes on at the fire stations called gay chicken. Can you explain to the audience what gay chicken is?
I don't really know what that is, but I can imagine that something weird like that happened at a firehouse.
Okay.
I got a captain. He's so funny, dude. He's like, hey, wouldn't it be better if we were all just fucking gay? We don't have to deal with all these chicks. We could just like fuck each other and hang out at the firehouse. Like, that'd be rad, huh? And everyone's all, are you okay, bro?
Yeah. So my understanding is gay chicken is about like, how gay and weird can you make it with?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Before it's like, all right, we got to back off.
Yeah, that could theoretically get out of control.
Okay.
You're so gay. You're so gay. No, you're so gay.
Yeah, let's show each other who's less gay.
Yeah. Like every
gay.
firehouse in America, you can't go like 5 minutes without someone making some kind of dick joke or something.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's making sense. Yeah, I heard about it. Sean actually and Dan Herring taught me about gay chicken, and I was like, oh yeah, we do that in the showroom too, I guess. The straightest men in the world are the gayest men in the world.
I think it's a way to test and make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to test the room here.
That's great. Yes, gay chicken. I learned about this and I thought, you know what? Since we're on the topic.
Firemen are fucked up, but probably so are car salesmen.
Oh, God.
You might have got us beat, dude.
Yeah. Number one industry for heart disease, divorce, drug addiction, alcoholism, suicide, gambling. We're Vice Central up in
that's it.
ABC Motors.
We had to be around the most fucked up humans for long enough possible in order to learn how to deal with them, you know?
Yeah, it helps make you unbreakable.
100%, man.
So you get into online coaching. Who got you into it?
So I grew up with Wes Watson.
Okay.
When we were kids, we used to skate. And then one of my buddies was like, hey, you heard Wes got out of prison? I was like, I didn't even know he went to fucking prison.
Oh, really?
Like I was like, wait, Wes. I remember I was like, that blonde kid? And I was like, no fucking way. And I started looking at his shit and I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. I started seeing his transformations coming out.
So this would have been like 2020?
Maybe 2020, 21?
21. Yeah, that was about when I joined.
Yeah, okay. And then like my daughter was born and I had 4 boys. And we had this accident daughter. My daughter's 4. My youngest son is he's 10. So we had 6 years. We thought we were done, and then we had this girl, and I was fucking pissed. I was like, we got 4 boys. We're a boy family. This is bullshit. And then my daughter's born, and it was the weirdest thing, man. The second she was born, I was like, I need to be a better man. Like a punch to the chest. Like, I just need to be better. I need to be a better man. And I don't know, I was seeking, and I saw one of Wes's transformations, and I'd been working out and I had abs and shit, but I saw those fucking veins on those dudes, and I was like, maybe that would help me like fucking get to the next level of me, So I hired Wes for a year, and then it was right when he was getting into coaching coaches, and he was like, hey man, I've been watching you. Like, I see your family. I see you started a business this year. I see you doing jujitsu. I see you skateboarding. I see you doing music. I see you taking fucking RV trips. I see you're a fireman. He's like, what the fuck else does the world need, dude? And I was like, I was already doing it in the firehouse. Like, I was on Trainer Eyes. I had a bunch of guys in there.
Oh, cool.
But I wasn't charging. I was just helping people. This is what people don't understand. Like, a lot of times they want to just like jump in and fucking crush it in the coaching game. But I had been doing that for free for 10 years, Usually behind everybody's story, there's like 10 years of some shit that they fucking did. They don't see the work behind it. So Wes was just the one who was like, hey, why don't you put out some Instagram shit? Like, put your transformations out. He's like, just watch what happens. Fucking exploded.
Yeah.
Like, just within like a year, just exploded.
Well, I remember because when you I think you maybe bought a car, you did a testimony or something like that. And at that time, like your testimony and Dane Poole's testimonies were about right around the same exact time. Yeah. Dane worked for me for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's another story we'll talk about another time, but love Dane, love him, miss him every single day. Got out of coaching though. But anyways, yeah, I remember seeing you, and I remember being like, this guy, you look completely different though. Yeah. And I was like, this guy's got a cool thing. I kind of understood what you were doing. I didn't follow it too closely. But I just knew that I didn't know the background story that you actually grew up around, Wes. Yeah. And I remember when I first joined his program, GP Life, it was like, dude, there was barely anybody on Zoom calls. It was like very small. Yeah. I think there was like Guerrero was maybe on it.
Yeah. Guerrero, I think, was number 1.
Yeah.
Then Gas Money, and then I was the 3rd one.
Okay. And then Big John was on it as well around that same time, maybe a little bit after me. Dane was a little bit after me too. So I must have been like right in that same exact window. Yeah. Same thing though, is that I told you I had my transformation before I got sober. Yeah. And my transformation was 10 years ago. Yeah. And I did it in a showroom. Yeah. So it was like everybody was asking me how I was losing so much weight working 90 hours a week.
Yeah, like, how the fuck do you do this?
Yeah. Yeah. So same exact thing. It just totally different industry. So, okay. So you blow up really quick. And I think that time period for online coaching was totally different than it is today.
Oh yeah.
Because I blew up at that same time too, and had
zero entrepreneur experience, zero marketing experience. I was just posting on Instagram and just showing my life. That was it. And the dad focused fitness hook thing was pretty new. There was like me and like Forged Father was kind of the OG with that. Mm-hmm. He's rad. That dude's rad. And he's steady as fuck, man. That guy's awesome. And it was kind of just us and maybe like a couple little quiet ones, but not really like that really in your face fucking like real shit, right? And then, I mean, 30 movements have broken out of us in the last 3 years, and all focused on dads. And I think it just spread, and just there's like thousands of them now, you know? Mm. So gone are the days where you can just post on Instagram and go, hey, my name's Kyle. You want help getting fit? They're just like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, but I still think that even though, and we were talking about saturation, and I don't necessarily believe in saturation. I believe in positioning your offer properly and being better than everybody else. But the way that you presented yourself, at least from what I remember, it was different. There was a certain ethos with it that made it extremely attractive.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think that you take that same ethos and that same approach that you had when you first got started. And if somebody were to start over, not saying you or, but anybody else were to start over with that same approach, I would imagine that it would perform very well today.
Yeah.
The difference is it's the frequency, right? Meaning how much stuff we have to be pushing out.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Because back then, what you maybe posted once or twice a day.
Yeah.
Right? Where nowadays, it's like, if you're not hitting 5 a day, like you're not even working.
That's fucking beautiful to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's like a punch to my reality right now. I'm like, fuck, you need to get your shit together.
Well, and we were talking about that earlier too, is like there is a system involved in making sure that and pillars involved to make sure that you can hit those numbers.
Yeah.
The other thing too is we went through this phase and I watched this happen because I was like, so I didn't have a great experience with the program we started, and not saying it was, I regret it. Actually, I don't. It got me into it, and it made me understand what was possible and what was out there.
Yeah.
But I had several other experiences along the way, good, bad, indifferent, mostly indifferent. But I would imagine that if it were somebody that didn't have a lot of money to invest in those programs, that indifference would have turned to severe hatred or spite. But for me, it was like, I just lost another 5-10 grand. Like, it's of course. And, and so, but back then there was a lot of like emphasis on ClickFunnels, right? There was a lot of emphasis on automation, and I dove into that. I used to have a mentor, in the auto industry that when Carvana started coming up, okay? The car vending machines basically, and like they deliver vehicles to you. And you can just order them online and you don't deal with a salesperson. And a lot of people in the auto industry were like, whoa, Carvana's going to take over. And it didn't end up happening. But I had a mentor tell me that a handshake is always warmer than a click. And I thought about that as I was like balls deep in funnels and automations and everything. And I'm like, dude, I just wiped away like all my personal connection with people doing it this way. And so I started to look back at like that personal connection I had when I first started and how every DM meant something.
Yeah.
Right now, of course, by now, you're hundreds of clients deep, right? Plus you started an agency. So it's like, how the fuck am I going to respond to every single DM, things like that? But how do I give people a really personalized experience all the way through the funnel? And that's where it was like, I was able to click and put my system together that I use now and install with coaches. But the point is that the way things have progressed, they've also digressed in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Where like things are getting back to unedited, unfiltered, more boring content, really. Less wild transitions and all of that stuff.
B-roll and shit and all that. It's kind of like making people move on. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think where you're at, like, where you're like, wow, reality sets in. It's like, well, not really. Because you have that same ethos.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I noticed that you've been skateboarding more on your content and I don't know if you always were all along, like I said, I don't see everything that you post, but playing music, stuff like that, that's great. It really humanizes you.
Yeah. It's very much like there's no question I got sucked into the business. So there was a point in Superhuman Fathers where I was like, I'm not a fucking superhuman father. I'm a fucking obsessed businessman.
Let's get into that.
Yeah. Well, it grew so fast. We had 700 guys at one point.
Okay.
So like these guys became my children, right? So much pressure, so much expectation. And then, we fucking made the big move and really put our backs against the wall with our personal finances. And so I'm sitting here as this like that's supposed to be this fucking king. And I'm going, this is heavy. And we had some really like $250,000, $300,000 months. And then all of a sudden it just dropped to like 125, which is beyond my wildest dreams, by the way, right? Mm-hmm. Like to make $125,000 a month is like, it's insane. But with the growth that we did and the personal expenses, that became like fucking break even. So now I'm in this pocket for like a year where I'm like, holy shit, grinding just to like hold the thing together. And that was fucked, dude. Like that was not good for my family.
Go back a second though. When you said you became this crazy obsessed businessman, did you break away from any of your core values?
No.
No,
other than time. See, when I first started, what started this thing was like I was a skateboarding, music playing fucking fireman that spent a lot of time with my kids and helped a lot of people, right? But when things got heavy and I was fucking now 16 hours a day just focused on business, and then when I was with my family, I was stressed the fuck out. So it was really hard to be present. That was a new feeling for me. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, nobody warned me about this in the fucking entrepreneur game, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but there's always good behind the dark side. Like there's always good. Because what did that do for me? I sat in fucking heavy pressure for 2 years and I learned how to fucking handle it and then go back to my roots. Like, people say PTSD. I swear I got more PTSD building superhuman fathers than I ever did in the fucking firehouse. Like, I'm like I see an entrepreneur that's been through the ups and downs and fucking lost everything and built it back again and lost everything. I'm like, this motherfucker is gnarly. Mm-hmm. I have so much respect for that shit. Because, and then trying to hold a marriage together and the kids and all that shit.
Most people can't.
Fuck, dude, I learned more about my marriage in the last 2 years. And you know what's fucking rad? Is I 10 times my marriage going through all this pressure. Like, it binded us together, dude. Like the craziest way I could possibly ever imagine. Garrett White had a lot to do with that.
Okay. So earlier though, you said that, don't do that. Don't go and invest in all the different programs. And I can understand spending willy-nilly maybe isn't a great idea, but ultimately you were reinforced with a lot of tools.
Bro, you're so right. So I made mistakes, but fuck, I'm speaking at the Man of the Arena event. I'm good friends with Garrett, meeting you and just vibing out and being on this podcast. This shit doesn't happen. I wouldn't be hanging out with Keith. Keith is a good friend of mine now. So everybody I invested with became a really good friend of mine and supports me, no matter what. They got my fucking back.
Putting yourself in those rooms is extremely important.
Yeah.
But going back to what I was asking in terms of core values, because for most men to assume that type of stress, I know there's days where I'm super stressed and I am absent with my wife.
Yeah.
And I have a Latina wife. She'll tell me.
Yeah, me too.
She'll tell us. And so I start to question my core values.
Yeah.
Right. And if your kids aren't getting the attention or you're a little bit absent, well, you're a superhuman father. And if you're not feeling like a superhuman father because you're consumed with business and stressed and you're not fully present.
Yeah.
Right. Then all of a sudden now that's when would imposter syndrome set in a little?
Yeah. I at the same time, I understand life. We're in the transformation game. You're always going to find yourself in a spot where you go off the path and you're going to try some shit. You're going to put yourself in a spot to feel it, to taste it, to be like, what is this like? And then you go, yeah, this is, okay, something's off. So then you got to transition and just reprioritize and shift. But is that losing yourself? No, I think it's fucking finding yourself, man.
Okay.
I've looked at it from two different views. I've looked at my past and gone man, I fucked up a lot. But I look at all my fuck ups, and all of my fuck ups taught me the shit that I needed to know to move to the next level. So it's like, if I knew everything, then okay, yeah. But there's just no way to experience life any different than fucking going for it and then adjusting from there.
With this transition in the business and lifestyle and all of that, have you seen more support? Have you seen hate? Have you seen, what does it look like?
Support.
Yeah.
All support. Like,
you've been very transparent.
The whole time. Like, from top to bottom, from the beginning to the end, like, there's been nothing that the world hasn't known about my situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like if you're going to lead, especially in transformation, people need to see you leading from a difficult place more than they need to see you fucking killing it.
Mm-hmm.
They need to see that, and they need to see the opposite. They need to see the pits and the peaks of you, and how do you react in that. My people need to see that. My people need to know when I'm going through a fucked up situation, then they need to watch me like a hawk and see how I react. And then I need to hold the fucking line as the leader when it's hard, not when it's easy.
Mm-hmm. Nobody trusts perfect. Yeah. The reason I ask, though, is because a lot of people are more entertained by a downfall. And not saying that it's a downfall, but
it's a fucking downfall, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's me falling in the mud. It is not comfortable for me to go on Instagram yesterday and say, I just ran out of cash. Like, that's not comfortable. Nobody likes that. But I also know, and it's probably very profitable to fucking lie right now. Mm-hmm. Be very profitable. I'm looking for long-term transformation for myself and for my people. And I'm also looking for people who's going to stay by me when I'm down in that domain in my life. I'm not fucking down personally, but who's going to stay by you? Like, who are your real people? Who are your real friends?
Yeah.
You know?
And I've been around business owners and entrepreneurs my entire life. It's nearly impossible for most business owners and entrepreneurs to express when they're down, especially when it comes to things like
how fucking painful to
cash.
Keep that shit in your chest and not let that out and have a place to be real.
Oh yeah. And a lot of times when you're a business owner and you have employees, you have to be, I remember one time I got in a seaplane, a 2-seater seaplane. And it was with my buddy, my dad's buddy, but he ended up being my friend. His name's Dan. And I wasn't sure about getting in it because I was pretty fat then. Yeah. I was like, man, what's the weight like on this thing, Fuck. And he was like, oh, you're good. Just get in. I'm like, all right, cool. So I pound like a Crown Royal and I get in. And we're taking off in the cove. And there's a tree line. And he starts pulling up and we're going. And I could feel, he didn't say anything. And this is the point. But I could feel the plane was struggling. Mm. And we barely made it over the tree line. I'm telling you, barely made it over the tree line.
Fuck.
And the entire time I was looking at him, and he was hiding behind his aviators. Cool as a motherfucker. And seeing him like that made me not say anything. It didn't make me jolt. It didn't make anything happen. And to me, when you're an entrepreneur and you have a team beneath you, you have to be the pilot behind the aviators.
Yeah.
Cool as hell. Everything's fine. That's very hard for most men, right? And most men can't handle the shame of being put in that situation.
Yeah.
You didn't have it to begin with. So I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A man who's built everything, spent his entire life building it and losing it all, right? They're more likely to be able to get it back.
Yeah.
Right? But it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Or when you've always had it. So you're back at baseline, which is a good place.
Yeah, where I was really fucking happy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I was happy in the firehouse. I wasn't running away from anything. I didn't build this to get out of a shitty life, or I had a great life. I fucking loved my life as a fireman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just fun. It was fun and it was fulfilling to help people. Like, I'm never not going to do this. I love it.
Yeah.
So the money's fun.
Yeah.
It's fucking fun.
Yeah.
But you know what else is fun? Fucking frontside grinds.
I was just about to say skateboarding.
Yeah.
Doing shit that's free.
Yeah, fuck, dude. I got my mini ramp back in my backyard in Oceanside, and I was like, fuck, burn the mansion, dude. I want this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, this thing is lifeblood for me. That's why when I see your walls with all the 90s shit, I'm like, this is my vibe.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 90s, punk rock, skateboarding with my friends. I never stopped. I skated every day since I was fucking 11. And my kids all rip. All of them. I mean, I can't say Marley rips. She's 4, so she's not, we don't know yet. But my 4 boys are fucking gnarly. And we skate together as a family. Like, we'll go mob the skate park and we just fucking all go as a family.
I love that.
It's a dream come true. It's crazy. I dreamed about it when I was like, when my first son was born, I like envisioned all my boys and it fucking happened. It's crazy.
I think too, like growing up, like we did punk, because I grew up skateboarding, punk rock. I watched you skateboard. I was like, that's a big fucking boy to be skateboarding like that, you know? And I grew up skateboarding too. And I don't even know if I can still drop in. Okay. But I've been snowboarding quite a bit in my 30s. I'm still really good. But I watched that, and it's like the guys that I find that grew up like skateboarding, punk rock, just like the alternative. I don't want to say alternative lifestyle because that makes us sound like pineapple in the front yard people. but yeah, that lifestyle, we tend to like be entertained easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, believe me, my when I travel, I do like serious shit. My last trip, we fucking took a private plane all over the place, like all kinds of stuff, like really cool high-end resorts.
Yeah.
I would have just as much fun at Punk in the Park in Silverado Canyon, watching Fat Mike, you know, rip with playing bass for Me First in the Gimme Gimmes.
Yeah.
Very specific because that's actually one of my favorite moments. And the simplicity of that type of stuff. I still watch. I follow more skateboarding stuff on Facebook than I follow anything else.
Dude, you can't. When you grow up with it, man, you just can't help but like just, especially where it's going right now.
Yeah.
What kids are doing.
Oh,
like,
9-year-olds doing like 1080s.
It's so
like
crazy, dude. Like the shit we did, like the best kids when we were young are now like, would just not even be amateur, bro. They'd just be a regular kid.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
So enjoying those simple things too. And it was like, okay, we had it, but you know, now we're here. We're really happy where we're at. But what's next?
Figuring out how to, I mean, we're talking, I'm drawn to help these really fucked up people, bro. I really am. Now, don't get me wrong. There's 2 routes that I really want to go. I might be starting a nonprofit. Okay. There's so many fucked up people that are in so deep. And nobody gives a fuck about them. Nobody, because they can't, because no one can. Like, you can't. There's no time. There's no energy. So they're just these lost fucking souls. So I put this ad campaign out, and it's like a 14-minute VSL, but it's a long ad, right? And it's my authentic self, as authentic as can be. And I am waking up the dead, bro. Like, the most fucked up people. Now, can I be on calls with them all day? No, I cannot. I cannot. But it's not gonna be that hard. Just create a course, create a place for them to go. So that's just something that's just almost feels like the universe is like, hey, you're gonna help these people. Oh. So that's on this side. On the other side, I have Superhuman Fathers, which is like, I love it. We've got about 100 guys right now, 120. And then I have the Power Couple Path, which is, my heart is very much in these couples, man. Okay. So hard charging business owner. He's a controlling dude because he has to be, right? Fireman kind of fit this too, but that kind of alpha vibe where he goes home and he's trying to figure out how to get along with his wife, but his wife's more of a docile people pleaser. That combination, I've got a bunch of those couples. And because Whitney and I fit that bill, and we've done so much work on our marriage, we literally can turn, if they're willing to do the work, we can turn around any marriage on the verge of divorce, like over and over and over again. Yeah. That's been one of the most fulfilling things I've ever been a part of.
So like type A men amiable women.
Yep.
It's my marriage.
That's the entrepreneur. That's the entrepreneur marriage, dude.
Yeah.
Because the wife feels super criticized, not good enough. They feel talked down to, but we're not trying to hurt them. We're trying to help them. We're trying to coach them. We're trying to fix their problem. They have a problem. We're trying to fix it. But they don't take it that way. So we speak two completely different languages. We have a problem sometimes feeling. So there's like a lot of lion, not a lot of lamb. And there's this there's this place where a guy like that, if he can learn the feeling, there's skills behind it too, but if he can learn the feeling is empathy for what his wife is feeling, and then sit in a place of just like incredible curiosity and not get triggered by her craziness. Because, bro, entrepreneurs, we marry crazy women. They fucking go off the handle. They go.
Yeah. Can I give you my outlook and maybe advice?
Yeah, of course, man.
You have to pick one, right?
Yeah.
You can't chase two rabbits. You'll end up losing them both. You have to pick one.
Yeah.
Okay. But listening to what you said, you had nonprofit, and it was like, this is an idea. Okay. Your eyes lit up about helping the super fucked up folks, but then you went, which is not going to be hard. You could probably build a course or something like that. That was quoting you, not quite verbatim.
Yeah.
But then you started talking about the power couple, and you unloaded on me.
Yeah, bro, that's it.
The passion that was in that, like you literally dished three things out, and you went from medium temperature to still medium temperature to fucking fire hot.
Yeah.
You have to pick one.
Yeah.
You can't chase three things. No one ever has sustained success by trying to chase three things at once in the beginning stages.
Yeah. And this is where I've been having a hard time, because I want to coach couples with my wife if I could do that only. And
you can.
Like that's what me and my wife want to do. Having said that, like a lot of our guys come in to my program, a lot of women go into her program, and that's where they get to know us, and then they end up coming together as a couple. Right. Yeah,
you can. And that's the nice thing, is that you have the option to individualize and then combine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like that better than any type of couples therapy, anything like that, where it's like, I'm going to help you be your best version of yourself, and I'm going to help you be your best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Because at the end of the day, we have to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we can help the other person.
Dude, they have to do their own personal development. Both of you have to do your own personal development. Then you come together and work together, but you got to have your separate too. So like all of our men are in Superhuman Fathers, all the women are in Warrior Mom Fitness, and then they're in the Power Couple Path where they work together.
Yep.
I fucking love it.
I would put all my eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even consider anything else.
Yeah. Just talking about it with you, dude, it's just like when there's a couple, I think it comes from just my personal desire to be respected, loved, desired, and admired by my woman, dude. To me, there's nothing deeper in a man than that right there. And everything that we actually do, like when guys come in and they're like, man, I really got to get in shape. Underneath that is, I really want my fucking woman to respect me. And I want her to instigate sex again. That would be really cool. And like all these other pieces like are behind, even when a guy says, I want to make money, like underneath that is like, I want my wife to just be like, fuck, that's my man. And if I can give a guy that, dude, just that fills me, man.
It's a heavy pain point.
Yeah.
It's a heavy pain point, and it's abundant.
Yeah.
And getting back to kind of that picking that lane, abundance is not doing an abundance of things, right?
Yeah.
It's about living abundantly, doing what you're an expert at.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we're fucking good at this.
We're really good at this.
Really fucking good at it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it comes down to being in the firehouse and just learning to deal with really tough fucking alpha stubborn males. I speak their language. I have a life that they respect. I have an energy that they respect. I give them the room that they need. I don't overstep my boundaries. I know how to play that brotherhood game. And so they'll fucking tell me shit that they have been fucking either holding back or they let me coach them. And my wife just fits perfect with their wives because she is them and she's experienced it all. And my wife like now has goals to instigate sex like 4 times a week, dude. That's like crazy.
Nice. You're getting it.
Like we went through years where like she would never instigate. It was fucking terrible. So man, I can get a guy laid and get his wife fucking like respecting him again. That's it, dude.
Well, that's what men want is respect.
Yeah.
The problem is that men want respect and they know exactly what they want. They're just confused on how to achieve
it. How to get it. Yeah. Yeah. Because she wants, her vision of what she wants is so different than what he thinks her vision of what she wants is. You ask a guy, most of the time, you're like, hey, what does your wife want? And he's like, well, I mean, he has no fucking idea.
No.
You're like, have you asked her? He's like, I mean, I did once on her birthday a couple years back. It's like,
yeah.
And we get, the other thing we're seeing is like the wives withhold truth because they don't want to fight, they don't want to rock the boat, and they don't want to hurt their husband's feelings, right? So we start extracting the truth out of the wives in writing. So they get to write the shit down and then give it to him. And then we're like this buffer to one, expose ourselves and be like, hey, look, this is every marriage, bro. This isn't just you. But when a man first hears hard truth from his wife, like very emotional hard truth, when your heart's not used to that, it's very fucking painful. When you get good at getting hard truth from your wife over time, it doesn't hurt anymore and it starts just free flowing. And then you're just free flowing truth in your relationship and nobody's getting butt hurt and it's not fucking defensive. You're not fighting over shit. It's just like, oh, I fucked that up. Okay, yeah, what do we need to do? It just becomes easy.
Less emotion?
Less emotion. It's just not that big of a deal.
Right.
So yeah, we fucking hurt each other. That's what we do. We're married. I fuck up. I bother you. You bother me. There's as much hate as there is love in a relationship. If we can accept both as normal, then we can just start working through it. And it's like, it's really not that complicated.
It's funny because, when it comes to like interaction, whether positive or negative, the minute emotion or mudslinging or anything like that gets involved, obviously one person retracts one or reacts. One person is the victim, the other one's the offender. Then all of a sudden those roles flip and it becomes a cyclical situation and then nothing ends up getting fucking fixed.
Yeah, I felt like I was running around in a fucking circle for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So like having the same conversation over and over again with the same fucked up feelings. I was just like, this is where marriage goes? Like, this is it?
So would you suggest mainly it's learning how to control your emotions and knowing what you want?
Yeah, it's hard because guys have so many fucking pride walls that are so deep, and then women lie. They don't even know they're lying. They're just manipulating. And they have no idea that they're doing it. That's the hard part because he's like, she's talking and he's like, you're fucking lying. And she's like, no, I'm not. She is. So then he starts trying to dig it out, but now he's like, I can't trust you. But she doesn't even know how to deal with her own thoughts. So now she feels disconnected. He says he doesn't trust me. So now she's hurt. She's not actually doing anything wrong. She doesn't even know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
And even when she does learn how to deal with it, it's still it's like detective work.
Sometimes I have to remind my wife where I'll say, how you take something does not mean that's how it is.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? So if you're reacting because of how you take it, you need to pause, right? Because what happens next? Words get put in your mouth.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Well, you said this. Well, that's how that's how you received it.
Yeah.
That's not how I packaged it.
Well, this is the hard part is this. So like we go into a logical conversation with our wife. If she's emotional, she's completely illogical. So no logic will get through to her, nothing. And that's where we get really frustrated because we're like, you're not hearing the truth that is right here. 1 + 1 is 3. What the fuck are we talking about? Right? So then we're like, I'm living with a fucking insane person. How did we get here? And she just feels unloved. So it's like, The second she feels loved and seen and heard, which requires a man to drop his fucking ego and go, hey, babe, come here. I love you. Get close to her, whisper in her ear, like calm her down. And then as soon as she feels loved, now all of a sudden logic opens up. Now she's smart again. You're like, what the fuck just happened? Was that an exorcism? Seems like a fucking exorcism. But that's women.
Right.
Like, and working with so many couples, like we see the same patterns over and over again, where like it becomes pretty simple, but you got to have like standard operating procedures.
Right. Another dangerous game though is the fact that, we give men these tools. Cause when I coach dudes too, like, and I deal with the same things too in my relationship. Right. But we want to fix things now.
Yes.
And women don't want to fix things now. They need space.
Yeah.
We don't know what the fuck space is.
Dude, you make a really good point, because as coaches, we have people come to us that are like, hey, help me. I want to fix the problem. But then we try to use the same techniques on our wife, but they don't want you to fix it.
No.
So we're like, what the fuck? Why does this work on them and not on her?
Right. It's timing.
Yeah.
It's timing.
It is, man. And it's the feeling. It's like, what does she want to feel? If I can go there first, then I can open up logic. But until I do that, all of our fucking magic wizardry coaching shit, it doesn't work.
No.
She's like, I see what you're doing. You're trying to coach me. Don't do that shit.
Yeah, I've learned about 36 hours is when you can introduce logic back into a fight that happened a day and a half ago.
I found with men that marriage is the hardest thing for them overall.
Yeah.
Fitness, like, okay, cool, hit your macros, go to the gym, wake up at this
Still
time.
impossible for
Still
most.
fucking really hard. But like, if a guy can't do that, his marriage is, you're gonna try and keep your marriage together and you can't even fucking get up in the morning and go to the gym.
Right. Well, when your credibility for yourself is at an all-time low, how can you expect to fully be present and credible to your wife? Your wife is literally watching you lie to yourself constantly.
Yeah.
And when somebody says how you, like, it's so funny because people accept like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay, but look at you.
Yeah.
How you do one thing is how you do everything. You acknowledged and nodded your head, and yet how you're doing that one thing and the conversation you had with me yesterday about your wife, like, dog, you're not doing it. Yeah. And guys need to know that. Like, I think it's one great thing that I think you and I both share is like, I'm not afraid to have hard conversations with people.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't really care if they never talk to me again.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it because it reveals the real person. If they're an egotistical fucking person you can't trust in the hard conversation, that'll reveal itself.
Yeah. I had a client of mine today. He sent me he's 5'9", 268 pounds. And he sent me, he's like, I'm down 14 pounds. Last month, I have him at like a 300, 400 calorie deficit, and I have him dialed the fuck in. 14 pounds is not enough for the 5'9" kid at his age, right? Yeah. And I said, you're fucking up. He's like, dude, I thought you'd be stoked about this. I go, what are you really fucking doing?
Yeah.
And so again, it's like, like you get to the point where you become so direct with people that you will push people away. Now, the good news for him is he's a glutton for punishment, right? He likes it when I come down on him. But most men, especially people that are close to you, when you give them those uncomfortable truths, you have those conversations with them and it pushes them away. Well, okay, probably wasn't the right place for you to be in anyways.
Yeah.
But if you can't have those hard truths, then you are part of the problem.
Yep. And in marriage, fuck. It's hard to do, man. There's a lot of feelings involved.
Too much.
It's fucking heavy as fuck.
Too much.
Yeah. But in like that's like in Superhuman Fathers, what do? It's like wake up time, macros, workout. That's your first thing. Like if you can't do that, we don't need to work on anything else.
Yeah.
That's your baby.
Stay credible.
Yeah. And then we can work on the next things, but that's step one. It's like, and that's hard enough for most people right there. Like you get them to do that, their whole life's going to change. Just that.
Setting your day up and routine is going to be huge for a dude because most of the time dudes want respect, but they lack self-worth.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to ask
respect
for respect.
Me, woman.
Yeah. When you're
not a respectable man.
Right.
I can't. So they fake it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. What do you think makes men the most weak nowadays, 2025?
Overly emotional, meaning driven by their feelings, their desire for comfort, and trying to fight any kind of uncomfortable situation or feeling. So it just puts them in a place where when they're riding high, they're doing good. But as soon as they don't feel like it, they're a mess. And that creates them going up and down and up and down and up and down. And that shows across all domains in their life. So the one thing you can get a guy to do that I'm seeing is really powerful is somehow through the process of being surrounded by people that are doing it and getting them to put themselves in the gym every day and doing the things they need to do is where they finally flip a switch where they commit for life. Mm-hmm. And not everyone will get it. Like some people will never make that commitment, but there's a moment in every man's transformation. Sometimes it's in separate domains, like in the fitness domain. There's a time where a guy will be in the gym and he's lost some weight and he has momentum and he sees himself in the mirror and his brain goes, we're never going to stop. Like, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. That moment is super emotional for that man because he's literally giving himself that gift in the mirror. Like he's telling himself, hey, I got you. I'm not going to stop ever again. That's the fucking switch. Once a guy has the switch, he's going to have a different life. Mm-hmm. Like life is different forever.
Yeah. I agree with you on that.
I might be same with like addictions, right? At some point you decide.
So, it's funny because I was thinking that obviously makes perfect sense. Scarcity and lack of serenity in 2025. That's where I see most men's kryptonite now. Mm-hmm. Scarcity and lack of serenity, meaning that they're obsessing over things that they cannot control. Okay. Yeah. And I think that in most men's case, they don't have one without the other. So they're obsessed with the things that are out of control. Therefore, they have a scarcity mindset.
Which puts them into that down level.
Yep.
And they haven't learned how to do the shit they need to do, follow the habits anyway. Mm-hmm. So now they're just perpetually in that fucking low.
Yep. Scarcity and lack of serenity.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we don't know. People are talking about tariffs and all the different things. And it's like, dude, this is completely out of your control. If you want to make a way, you're going to make a way. Obsessing over your wife's emotional issues and things like that. Well, that's how she's wired. It's out of your control.
Yeah, she ain't going to change, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you go straight into scarcity mindset in your relationship. Right. Mm-hmm. But serenity is, having the strength and courage, right? Like, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
Right. And I just butchered it, but either way, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of guys, like they obsess over these things.
Yeah.
Men today identify with their political ideologies. Men today are consumed with like just shit that doesn't matter. And if they took half of that energy that they do fucking Biden or fucking Trump, like and whatever, and just like go to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. Go hang out, go throw the ball with your kids.
Go play press, do something.
Fucking go ask your wife how she's doing.
Anything, but like literally throwing yourself into this pit.
Yeah, that gives you
of control, which you don't even have.
Yeah, which gives you nothing back.
Yep.
It pays you nothing. You spend all this time fucking mulling over bullshit, and it pays you nothing back. It only drags you deeper.
And then fear sets in.
Yeah.
And fear to have the hard conversations, fear of running out of money, fear of whatever, and it's perpetual.
Yeah.
And you see it happen all the time with guys. And then they become indecisive. And in my eyes, indecision is the fucking enemy.
And you try to pull them out and you tell them, and there's a certain percentage of them that you watch in their eyes, like only a certain percentage of belief is in there.
Yeah.
Like, where you're just like, dude, this guy's like 20% believing me right now. He's so fucking dark.
Yep.
You know, and that's where you got to shake that motherfucker up, or just smash his frame and just like try anything to wake him up, give him a moment. Even that guy, he needs the moment. He needs the goosebumps. He needs the fucking mastermind fucking, because maybe it'll open him up to a moment where he can just see it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you know when that actually does happen? Rock bottom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Change occurs when the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change.
Yep.
It's rock bottom.
Yep.
And it's so funny because nowadays, like, I've learned this after being so involved in the sobriety community and all of that, where it's like people will come to me and I'll ask them questions and then I won't call them back because it's not bad enough.
Yeah.
It's just not bad enough.
Yeah.
You can sit in your shit for quite a bit longer the way it is. It doesn't stink enough. It's not itching. It's not causing rashes and whatever. You're sitting in your shit and you're very comfortable in it.
We are stubborn creatures, bro.
Mm-hmm. So how bad does it have to get, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's different. Some people are all the way to living under the bridge, injecting fucking H between their toes. And that's still not bad enough.
Yeah.
Other guys wake up in handcuffs or in a cell after a DUI. That's enough. Took me a couple. The last one involved a helicopter chase. But, you know, that was about bad enough. But actually, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
Putting a gun in my mouth and ready to blow my brains out, being saved by my brother, was bad enough.
Fuck.
That was bad enough.
Huh.
You know what I mean? So when is it? When is it bad enough? And does it have to get that bad? It doesn't. But
when you're here and you felt that, and you know when somebody's there because you've been there.
Yep.
It's like the dark side has power, bro. Like
more power than potential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you can put a guy in front of Tony Robbins, and yes, Tony Robbins has changed a lot of lives. But if you put a guy in front of Tony Robbins that listens to him, takes it in, does NLP and whatever, and maybe he feels a little bit of a change, but that the force that took him there wasn't enough for him to follow through.
Yeah.
Going right back to the mastermind thing. If it's not bad enough, it's very unlikely that you're going to, it's a Phoenix situation. You have to burn.
It makes me think of like, with the skill of coaching, there's been times where, you know, and this is where you're forcing them to see something that they're unwilling to look at, where in that conversation, you can actually drag them down into the fucking pit and hold them there. And so that, and they have to be willing to go there with you. So they're again, they might have to be at rock bottom in order to let you do that for them. But I'm thinking of the times when I've had the right conversation, the right timing, or the right event where you can take their life, put them in the fucking mirror and have them see it and then watch them go, oh, fuck, it is that bad. And there can be a springboard off of that.
Do you think you can point out that you can point out how bad it is?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Not always. Definitely not. Like there's times when I try and it just doesn't work. But there's definitely times when it works.
And it registers.
But on the backside, that could be their rock bottom also, right? So but I think a good coach can speed up that process.
Mm-hmm. What I found in most cases is that when I have that first conversation and then I listen and I don't actively pursue, typically 4 to 6 months later, I'll get that call. And then I'm open arms.
Yeah.
I've learned this, and just like you, I've worked with over a thousand guys and quite a few women. You become a little bit callous to the bullshit, the nonsense and things like that. But ultimately, like I can't send another dude to detox and get emotionally invested in his program to have him leave and fucking die.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, bro, I've had situations where I've had people call me in a state on the East Coast and wasted, determined for change. One in particular hopped on a plane. He told me he was coming here to get detox. He needed help finding a treatment center. I found him a treatment center, set up an interception team, and to go get him from the airport. He told me he was flying into LA. He was flying into San Diego. And so I had a whole interception team ready. You know what I mean? Like he was so fucked up, right? He gets here. We find him somehow in San Diego, get him into treatment, things like that. We spent so much money and resources getting him all set up for him to leave the program 2 weeks early, go home and completely destroy his life.
Yes.
And you look at it and at this point now it's like, dude, I don't even like entertaining the serious transformation cases until I know it's bad enough.
Yeah.
It's really bad enough. And I can tell you numerous transformations. We're talking 250 pounds lost, almost 300 pounds lost. Naturally, no surgeries, no weight loss drugs and things like that, of guys where it was finally like, my doctor said that if I don't do this, I'm going to die. I've lost everything. My children are gone out of my life. Those are the biggest transformations that I've had.
Yeah. And then, God, the scary part is like, those same guys can't ever drop the ball because it's waiting for them.
Yeah.
Right? Like
they always say your disease is doing push-ups in the park.
Yeah, dude. So and we get a little jaded because it's like, there's this, hey man, good job, congratulations. But we're like, hey, watch the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like keep your eyes open, motherfucker.
Yep.
Because after this, you think you got somewhere.
Right.
Stay awake, buddy.
I think everybody that's been there like that knows to celebrate the milestone, but it's always celebrate the milestone, but
hey, congratulations. By the way, this is day fucking 1 for you, just so you know. you haven't done shit, you bitch.
Wake them right back up. That's awesome.
Fuck, man.
Before all of this, if you could speak to the version of you that was struggling, what would you say?
Dude, I don't know if I have ever not been struggling.
Okay.
Like, I've always struggled with something. I think life is that. I mean, but if I think back to my childhood, I was struggling with fitting in when I was younger. I was weak. I was a weak kid. So there was struggling there. Then struggling in high school to become something and being around all that and feeling for my friends and being worried about them. That was struggling. Going on my mission, fucking struggle. That was the hardest shit ever. Coming home, getting married, having kids quick, trying to figure out marriage. My wife crying in the bathroom, wondering how do you figure this out? Being a fireman, slim shaky, they called me, bro. I was nervous for 5 years. 5 years, my hands would shake when I would do anything with an IV, with a tool. Getting fucking clowned, called slim shaky. Learn to accept it, right? But you're just like, fuck me. What the fuck? Right? And then start Superhuman Fathers. And that was fucking hard. It's hard. And it's a struggle. And getting up in the morning to go to the gym early with the 5 kids and the wife and the shit that has to get done, it's still a fucking struggle. The struggle never ends. So, yeah. I don't really remember, maybe when I was 6, I remember not struggling. But I don't feel like life just felt easy ever. And I don't really care, nor do I want it to be.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm grateful for it.
I love that. I can relate.
Yeah, I know you can because of what you built and what you've been through and what you do every day, that you can relate. You can relate to this desire to have a battle and have resistance and fight against it and become better than you were yesterday. And so it's always pushing against some kind of resistance.
Are we sick in the head?
What's that?
Are we sick?
I think we make the world go round, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is the world gonna do without people like us? Like, nothing would be built. Like, think of all the people that have been affected by that sickness in the best of ways. How many fucking lives have been saved because of that gift that's in here? Like, I don't want that to leave, dude.
Do you believe that only the broken can heal the broken?
I believe that the darkest motherfuckers, when they choose the light, are the most powerful. And I don't know what that means spiritually. I like to go into weird places. I don't fucking know, but I do like to go like, dude, some guys are just born of fucking darkness because they speak to the darkness and it's like a language that they hear. It's a dark motherfuckers choosing the light. And for some reason, and I know you have it too, for some reason we can speak to those people and they listen, they hear our voice. What the fuck is that? I don't know. But yeah, my brokenness connects me to those people. And when I don't share it openly, I don't connect with those people.
Yeah. This was good. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, we got lost in that for a little while. Just disappeared, huh?
Don't even care. Guys, if you like what you saw, make sure you click subscribe. We're going to put all of Kyle's stuff below. Comment, like, do all the great things for the algorithm and helping us out, get our stories out there and all that good stuff. We appreciate you watching the Justin Wenzel Podcast. We'll catch you next time.